It was the year 1914, and I am Ernest Shackleton. Today, I'll tell you the story of how I faced the impossible, and how I endured it, not with strength, not with certainty, but with something deeper, the will to continue, even when there was no reason left to believe we would make it. We were going to cross the Antarctic. That was the dream, a frozen world no one had conquered before. I had the maps, the crew, the ship. I had the ambition. What I didn't know was that this journey would become something else entirely. Not a story of triumph, but a lesson in what happens when everything fails, and you must still lead. The sea didn't welcome us. It closed in. Slowly, quietly, until we were trapped. Our ship, the Endurance, stuck between slabs of ice, groaning as if the ocean itself wanted to crush us. Days passed, then weeks, then months. There was no rescue, no radio, no help. Just us, frozen in place, drifting further into nowhere. The world had forgotten us, but I couldn't afford to forget myself. I was their leader, and that meant one thing. I had to remain steady. Even if everything inside me was cracking like the ice under my feet, I didn't lead with power. I led with presence. I woke before them. I smiled when I didn't feel like smiling. I gave orders not to control, but to protect their minds from the creeping fear. Because when fear takes root, it spreads. And in a place like that, fear is more dangerous than frostbite. Then, one morning, the ice answered. It crushed the Endurance, splintered it into silence. The ship that brought us there was gone. We were now just men on drifting ice. No shelter, no timeline, no map home. So I did what I always did. I focused on the next right move. We built camps, we hunted, we rationed food. I enforced routines, not because they were needed, but because they created rhythm, and rhythm gave us sanity. But eventually, the ice couldn't hold us either. It began to break. So we moved to lifeboats, and for 6 days, we sailed through freezing waves, soaked to the bone, lashed by storms, until we found land. It wasn't salvation, just temporary relief. The real challenge was still ahead. We were on Elephant Island, a place with no population, no rescue, no way out. I looked at my men, some broken, some hopeful, all watching me. So I chose 5, and a 22-foot wooden boat. I told the rest I'd come back. I said it like I believed it. Truth is, I had no idea if I'd survive that journey, but I didn't need to believe it fully. I just needed to act like I did. We've sailed for over 2 weeks, across the roughest sea on Earth, with no shelter, no warmth, no sleep. The ocean wanted us gone, but something in us refused. I didn't pray for the storm to stop. I prayed to keep going. We reached South Georgia, barely, but the journey wasn't over. Mountains stood between us and help. Mountains no one had ever crossed. We crossed them in one push. 36 hours, no map, no rest, just grit and will. And when we reached the whaling station, I collapsed. But I had one thought. Go back, and I did. I returned with a ship, and not one of my men had died. After nearly 2 years lost in the ice, I brought every single one of them home. People called it a miracle. I don't. I call it leadership. I call it choice. Because, in the end, we didn't survive because we were the strongest. We survived because we refused to break, refused to stop, refused to let the cold take our minds, even when it took everything else. You don't need perfect plans. You don't need certainty. You need one thing: resolve. You keep going, even when it hurts, even when no one sees, Even when the storm tells you to stop, you don't, because your will, when everything else fades, is the only fire that doesn't freeze. And that is what saved us. It can save you too.